Hey everyone, welcome back to KC30 Sparks. Today we will be continuing our tavern by adding in a window to some of the wall pieces. So what I'm going to do is just kind of a empty window with some shutters on it. First off though, before we get into modeling that, last week we made this door piece. I just had this as a solid piece before, but as you can see, I went ahead and added a little crease here so it kind of matches the plank wall, so these pieces come off of it and they look like separate wood pieces. Totally optional, you can have it solid if you wanted, but I just wanted to add that one little detail afterward and I forgot to, so I just wanted to do a little correction there. No big deal, so add that if you want to. But today for our window, I'm basically going to start off the same way that we did for the door. So I'll just select this piece here, Shift D to duplicate it, and then we're going to go ahead and hit M to move that to an empty layer. So this is my first empty layer. Perfect. And we'll hop over there. Awesome. Obviously it's not in the center, so to move it to the center, I'm just going to go over here to set origin to 3D cursor, and then geometry to origin, so that way it's perfectly centered. Because I'm going to tab into edit mode, hit A to deselect everything. I'm going to Z for wireframe view and B and select everything here. And delete that half. Make sure you got everything. Perfect, so I'll just delete that one extra. Go over here to modifiers and add a mirror modifier. Make sure you apply clipping, so that way when everything is selected, it stays connected. Perfect. So really quick, since I did import this as an STL from another Blender file where I actually created this, there are some extra edges in here. So I'm just gonna skip forward real quick so I can clean up this and you guys don't have to sit through that. I'll be right back. Okay, now that I have that all set up, I went ahead and deleted all of those extra edges, basically just so that way when I add loops and stuff, it won't matter. Okay. So I'm going to go into front view here, and once I do that, I'm going to kind of eye out how I want my window and shutters to be placed. I'm going to have it kind of small. I'm thinking maybe I'll go ahead and select these faces. So border select, and our window could be kind of laid out like this right here, and then our shutters could take up these 6 squares next to it, because we know if this was to actually shut, it would be the same, hopefully kind of the same dimensions as this, and it'll be mirrored on the other side. So wireframe view, so we can get all of these. X to delete faces, and there is our hole. And before we start adding in these faces and everything, I want to make sure that these are fine. So we want to push these vertices in. So go ahead and grab these two. Whoops. And the ones behind them. And we're going to just pull them there to make it perfectly straight. Awesome. Let's go ahead and fill that in. So I'm just going to grab this edge and this edge and hit F for face and do that all the way around. Now that that's filled in, basically what we need to do is flatten parts of this out. So since we're going to extrude the stuff for the shutters and these planks will essentially be disappearing, we don't have to worry about the other side since this will be the inside. So we can leave this as is. But on this side, I want to go ahead and grab this, all of these indentations. And then make sure you deselect those. And draw them out to make it flush. Perfect. And then you'll want to make sure you do that to this as well. Perfect. So now that that is flat again, oh, don't forget this one as well. So oh my goodness. Okay, so now that that is nice and flush, what we can do is grab, I'm going to leave this, the one closest in as is. And that means what we'll want to do is once again grab these vertices, pull them in to make it straight. Perfect. And now we can grab these faces. Go into side view, hit E to extrude, and pull that out. Make it a little thick. Perfect. Cool, so now that we have our basic outline, what I want to do before I forget is I wanted to add a little bit of detail inside the window. So I want to grab this face, E to extrude, and pull that in. Go into wireframe view, hit X, and delete that face so it's hollow, but it's connected. And that's a little bit larger than what I would like. So what I'll do is grab those two faces and size by the Z axis. More like there would be better. Okay. And then what I will do is grab this face and this face, E to extrude, size along the Z axis. And that's going to be a little thin. I'll fix that in a second. Actually, no, I'll fix that first. Let's pull those over. About there. Control R to add a loop here. Make it line up with those. And then what I can do is this face and this face, hit spacebar, type in bridge. Go to bridge edge loops. And same thing down here. Now you'll notice it is a little bit off, so what we can do is grab this edge and this edge, go into front view and fix it to make it straight. Perfect. I like that. Of course, that's optional. You don't have to add that unless you want to. I thought it'd be kind of cool. Just, you know, since I'm not going to be putting in plastic or anything for a false window. So, yep, I think I'll leave that as is. If I was actually going to put in like plastic or plexiglass or something inside here, I'd probably leave that out. But this just gives a better illusion, like, oh yeah, that's a window, not just a hole in the wall. At least for me anyway. Okay, for the shutters, I wanted to add some detail to them as well. What we can do for this is I wanted to make it so this is like 2 large planks of wood, and also it had like a plank going across on the top and a plank going across on the bottom, and then the ones that go across diagonally. So what we'll do first is get the indent here first. So what we'll want to do is grab, go back to vertice select mode, grab these vertices in the center because we want to make them straight. Grab that edge loop, but we want to make sure it only does the shutter itself. So we can scooch this over. Grab this. Go into side view, Z for wireframe, and just pull that back. That looks good. Maybe a little further. Perfect. Now for the top board and the bottom board, I'm just going to go ahead and add in 2 loops here because that's the perfect width, and 2 loops here. Awesome. Deselect everything. Border select. Oop, don't need that one. And border select up here. E to extrude and pull that out. And it still has that indent, so what we'll do is size against the y-axis to make that flash again, and we'll just do there. It's probably good. So for the diagonal plank, what we want to do is use the knife tool. So I already straightened up these edges just to see if it would help at all, because the knife tool isn't always the most precise. So after we use it, we'll probably have to straighten it up a little bit, but let's see what happens. So I'm going to hit K, and what I'm going to do is, this would be a little too thin. I'm just going to pick a point where I think the plank would be best. So about here, and go to, see that line, I would want to go to about here and hit enter. Okay, and then we're going to hit K again, and I want to do from about maybe this point to about here and hit enter. That's not too bad. Like I said, we will want to clean this up a little bit. Draw those up and draw this one up a little bit more. That's not too bad. So we'll go ahead and select those loops. Grab these vertices as well so it's complete. Go into side view, hit E to extrude, draw that out, and we're going to have that indent again. So we'll hit S and Y to flatten that out. Perfect. Now it isn't perfect, but honestly, I don't think it's too bad, especially when looking at it without the lines on it. It looks pretty good. So I think we're gonna leave it as is. It probably could be a little bit thicker, honestly, but I'm okay with it. So I'm gonna bring it out to here. So about there, so it's not too much thinner. Gonna do Control R to this right here, bring that out to match, and Control R to the bottom as well. Bring that out to match. And then you also want to do that to here, right there. And that one already, oh no, Control R, right there. And after adding those loops, we can connect the faces. So this one and this one, Alt M, that last. Do this. Select those 2 faces, X, delete those faces because we want to make sure that this is hollow. Okay, go down here. All right, cool. So now that we have that, we are essentially done. All we have to do now is duplicate it, just in case I decide to change it later. And I'm going to move it to that first layer where the tavern is to see how it looks. So of course now I do have to reorient it since I changed it from before. There. Put that up. And just for fun, I'm going to color it so we can see, hopefully see it a little bit better. So I'm going to apply this mirror and go over to materials, add one, and we'll just do the same color as that. And I'm going to change the shutter color. So 1 second. That didn't really help too much, but it's still a little bit easier to see than against all that gray. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, please just leave them in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you have any requests as well for what you'd like to see in this tavern or just in future videos in general, just leave them in the comments below. I love suggestions. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you guys next week.